Hey, my beautiful bitches, it's me, Fiona St. James, and welcome to another episode of Fiona's Coffee Talks. And as always, I like to start off every day with a fresh, hot, black cup of coffee. Hold the cream! I'd love to. And of course, I think of my favorite quote of the century by Oscar Wilde, which says, "Life is too important to be taken seriously." So lighten up, folks. So today's topic is, drumroll please, Life of a Drag Queen Part 5. Yay! Okay, so hopefully you guys saw parts 1 through 4. I gave you like a whole overview, started doing it. Last episode was about my first paid booking. So now I want to talk about like the whole competition beauty pageant world, which is actually the very first thing I did back in '87 was Miss Ice Palace. So then I did like Miss Silver Lining, and then I was doing Miss Fire Island year after year. And then suddenly there were all of these other contests that I entered. Uh, Miss uh, Miss Greenwich Village, Entertainer of the Year, and specifically the one I want to talk about is Miss Gay Northeast. And I remember that took place at Limelight, if I'm not mistaken, and that was like 1991. So now this particular pageant, as opposed to the other ones where you were either just like you went for the title of like Miss Fire Island, where you basically was based on what you look like, your outfit, poise, this, that, and you just did a little walk. Then they had the other part of that was like entertainer. So like where you would judge based on whatever number you perform. But this particular one, Miss Gay Northeast, it really was like an all around beauty pageant where like even before the night of the contest itself, where of course all of us are in drag, a couple of days before that, we had to do like an interview, a Q&A in front of the judges, but not in drag. So like you were there in your suit, and I guess they wanted to know that you could answer questions and be like a spokesmodel. And then the actual contest was not just a performance, but like evening gown sportswear, your number itself. So it was a lot more entailed. It was much more like the way a traditional beauty pageant would be. And and at that time, it was 1991, and I had only been doing drag like 4 years. But my best friend, hey Droopy, who was my choreographer, was also one of my backup dancers. So at that point, like very early on, I liked having backup dancers because I was always about the production. So I remember I did a Marilyn Monroe medley because that's what I was immediately started doing early on. So and I had two backup dancers, and it was Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend blended into My Heart Belongs to My Daddy. And because I've always been really good at like audio and like mixing tapes, and I'm going way back when, where it was about, like cassette tapes, and I had like a dual cassette thing. So I would like mix all these tapes. And I remember once even doing a Cheater Rivera medley, and people would always comment on that, "Girl, who did your music?" And I did, because that was something that I always knew how to do and I loved doing. So this particular contest, I didn't win, but it was the first contest of that magnitude where there was so many different like layers and things that you had to do. And and I did well, and the experience itself was wonderful. I did a few more like that. But that one, like even just having the backup dancers, like many people don't have backup dancers, and everything was completely choreographed. And I remember even having the dress from Diamonds Are Girl's Best Friend, and like stripping out of that, and then suddenly I was like in all like white lingerie, and it's kind of fabulous, and it was just wonderful to do it to that degree. And I remember it was the most prepared that I ever felt. Like I had done other contests, but because they were so just like either doing a number or doing a little walk, but this was so much more. It really did feel like, wow, this is a lot to do. But I was ultra prepared. I remember like down to like every single outfit, and Droopy's husband, Tony, hey Tonio, was exquisite makeup artist and hairdresser. So he did my hair and makeup. So it's also kind of neat for me to have like, a team where like have my choreographer with my two backup dancers, my hair and makeup guy who were there with me for the entire thing. So, and I was just grateful and appreciative that I was as prepared as I did. And, I've never been one to really care about like winning. And honestly, all the years that I've done all these pageants, I did in 1994 at the, what was it called? The bunkhouse uh, in Sayville. That's where they had Miss Long Island. And I had been doing that since like 87. And year after year, I wouldn't win. But then finally, 1994, I won Best Professional. And I was like, oh my God. But that was even like kind of fucked up because I'll never forget. I was contestant number 2. And Kenny Dash, God rest his soul, who was reading the, you know, third place, second place, winner. And then when he got to the winner, I was so hoping that they would say number 2. But because the dumb bitch looked, the number 2 was next to like the number 1, meaning first place. He was like, contestant number 12. And that's all I heard. And I was like, because I really thought that I should have won that year. Subsequent, I mean, I did end up winning, but when he said number 12, I didn't hear anything after that. So he's like, contestant number 12, Fiona. And I didn't hear my name. I just heard the wrong number. That was not my number, obviously. And then I'm standing there and my friends are like, girl, you won. And they're like pushing me. And I was like, and even as I'm walking up to like be crowned or whatever, I was like, wait, what? Like I'm questioning him. Did I win? And then I was like, and then I realized, oh shit, this bitch fucked up. I won. I got emotional and it was wonderful. But that, again, that was just based on my performance. I think I did Sandra Bernhard. But the whole point of this was talking about Miss Gay Northeast and the fact that there are pageants out there where it is like competing for Miss America, where there's all these different categories. It's not just doing a walk or performing. It's so much more entailed. And I loved it. I haven't done a contest in decades, but early on, like that's actually when I started doing drag and started performing. That was very much a part of my life. Like I did Miss Fire Island pretty consistently from like 87 through about 2002. And then I was just like, girl, you know what? Because I hate to say this, but sometimes it's politics plays into it. And I hate to say this, but a lot of times politics plays into a lot of things in life, as we are all experiencing as we live and breathe every day. But we ain't going to talk about that. Anyway, so that's my Miss Gay Northeast story. So don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe if you have not. And as always, thank you so much for being here with me. Until the next time. Oh, and don't forget, Fiona St. James is on my social media. The Saints is not spelled out, just ST, no period after the T of the Saint. All right, guys. Bye. My little clicker.